Welcome to Story Watching. Today we're talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife. And if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify future videos. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, I just got back from watching Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I gotta say, it's okay. I'm not gonna say it's like my most favorite movie of this year. I mean, so far, Shang-Chi is still holding my number one spot for this year as far as my favorite movie for the year, but this was a good movie. It was everything that you wanted in a sequel as far as I'm concerned. Now, without getting into heavy spoilers right off the bat, I gotta say, this was good. I liked this movie a lot. It was a lot of fun. It had a lot of nostalgia in it, but it wasn't like overwhelming nostalgia, right? I mean, they threw in the things like, hey, remember this? But they didn't really like shove it in your face. You know what I'm saying? So this was actually pretty damn good. Now, especially compared to the 2016 Ghostbusters, I mean, this movie is 100 times better than that. I mean, even though that some of the original cast did appear in the 2016 movie, they were playing other characters. They weren't playing the same characters, so it didn't feel the same. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like it was wasted. But in this one, they were reprising their roles, and it actually fit. And they weren't in the movie the whole entire time. I'll have to be quite honest with you. But when they did show up, it was awesome. Ghostbusters Afterlife is a 2021 American supernatural comedy film directed by Jason Reitman, who co-wrote the screenplay with Gil Kenan. It is a sequel to Ghostbusters 1984 and Ghostbusters II of 1989, both directed by Reitman's father and this film's producer, Ivan Reitman, and is the fourth film overall in the Ghostbusters franchise. Now, this movie is set 32 years after the events of the second film. A single mother and her two children moved to a small town in Oklahoma where they discovered their connection to the original Ghostbusters and their grandfather's secret legacy. A third Ghostbusters film has been in various stages of development since Ghostbusters 2 was released in 1989. Stalling as Murphy refused to commit to the project. After the death of cast member Harold Ramis in 2014, Sony instead produced a female-driven reboot directed by Paul Feig and was released in 2016. After Feig's film drew controversies among the fans of the original films and became a box office failure, Jason Reitman developed a sequel to the original films. The new cast was announced in July of 2019, while the original cast signed on 2 months later. It is also a posthumously dedicated to Ramis. Filming took place in July to October of 2019. Ghostbusters Afterlife was screened unannounced on August 23rd during the 2021 CinemaCon event in Las Vegas. It was released in the United States on November 19th of 2021. After being delayed 4 times from its original July 2020 release date due to COVID-19 pandemic, the film received mixed reviews, with the cast members' performance, Reitman's direction, and the nostalgic tone being praised, but the fans' service being criticized. Starring in this movie, as far as like the new cast goes, we have Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Logan Kim, Celeste O'Connor, and Paul Rudd. Now, as far as the original cast members go, we had Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, and Amy Potts coming back to reprise their roles from the original films, which I personally say that's the way it should have been to begin with. But, you know, they did say that, you know, Bill Murray's like, I don't know. But he agreed to do a stupid cameo in that 2016 movie. I mean, you were willing to do that, but you weren't willing to reprise your original role. I mean, it would have made that movie a lot better. Now, they said it was supposed to be like a soft reboot or a reboot of the original Ghostbusters movie, and I did not like that movie at all. I am so glad that they don't really consider it canon. Now, I do have to say it was kind of weird that they are saying that this movie takes place like after the events of the second film, but I don't remember them actually referencing anything in the second film at all in this movie. I mean, everything was all focused on what happened in 1984. They didn't really say anything about the, I don't even remember, Vigo, right? They didn't even mention that guy once. I mean, they made the Statue of Liberty walk down Manhattan, right? And they didn't even mention that at all. That was not even brought up once. But this is supposed to be taken up after the events of the second film. But they didn't really say anything about the second film. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I have to go back and see that again. Now, currently, Ghostbusters Afterlife is sitting with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 97% and an audience score of 88%. So everybody's pretty much liking this movie. I am definitely one of those people. Now, with a budget of $75 million and a opening box office and domestically of $44 million, and count in what they got internationally, we're sitting at $60 million worldwide, which is pretty damn good for your opening weekend, seeing that your budget was only $75. So you almost paid back your budget. Now, without knowing the original marketing budget they had for this movie, and I'm talking all the way back in 2020, because there was some, so they did spend some kind of money on their marketing because everybody thought they were going to be able to put their movies out that year, right? And we know how all that went. But without that being said, I mean, they did pretty damn good opening weekend. Hopefully this movie will have some legs because, see, we got holiday weekend coming up. Maybe a lot of people will go out with their families after eating turkey and everything like that and go watch Ghostbusters. I highly recommend. I mean, this movie was awesome to watch, I have to say. Now, I have to say, one of my favorite parts about this movie is actually how they handled the whole Harold Ramis thing. I mean, it's very unfortunate that he was not around to actually be in the actual sequel to the films that we got back in the 80s because, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, I did like how they brought him back in and they used a lot of clips, mainly from the 1984 film. They didn't show any clips from the 1989 film. I don't know why. I thought that was pretty cool how they were hinting at there was him that was helping out Phoebe's character when she was working on the proton pack. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, they didn't actually show him, like they really hinted heavily that he was the one helping her. And she even said so like within the course of the movie. I thought that was pretty damn cool. And I think he actually even did basically the same thing with the mom when she finally got down to in his little bunker on the farm there. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I did like it how at the very end, now this is a spoiler. If you had not watched Ghostbusters Afterlife, this is going to be a spoiler. So just so you know, I have to say I did like how at the very end where they were having their showdown with Gozer on the farm and everybody's firing off their proton packs and stuff like that. And then Phoebe is sitting there firing and all of a sudden you see like the ghost-like blue light glowing hands help her hold on to the proton pack gun. And that was an awesome moment. I'm like, how in the hell are they pulling it off? Where did they get that footage? Well, you come to find out later on doing research about this video, they got a guy to come in to do a body double. Now, looking at this guy, his name's Oliver Cooper. He does look a lot like Harold Ramis if you just kind of like glance at him. I mean, because he didn't say a word. You know, he sat there and he kind of smiled and stuff like that, you know, and he didn't really say anything. I thought that was awesome that they brought him in this way. But actually, they brought like a Harold Ramis-like type character from the very beginning. I mean, he was like the hero of the movie without actually being in the movie. I thought that was so damn awesome. I thought all the kids on the cast in this movie did a pretty damn good job. I mean, the Wolfhard kid did a pretty good job. Like, McKenna Grace did an awesome job. But I have to say this for sure. The Logan Kim kid playing podcast, he was like my favorite through the whole entire movie. Hands down. That kid was hilarious, man. I mean, his timing was just phenomenal. For a kid, his timing was awesome. That kid has got a definite future in the movies. So, I don't know, man. Did you go out and see Ghostbusters Afterlife? Let me know in the comments down below. Where do you think this ranks with you as far as with the other movies? I mean, it's not as good as the first film, but it's kind of better than the second film because as far as I'm concerned, this was more like a direct sequel to the first film because, again, I did not see any references to the second film. And obviously, they're not going to have any ones to the 2016, which I'm kind of glad. Right? That's just me. You know, it's all subjective, but that's just me. So let me know what you think in the comments down below.